Good day, welcome. This is your Daily Med with Lady V. Today's lesson comes to us from Acts chapter 12, verse 18 and 19. We will see Herod's wrath on the jailers. As we can remember from our story, Peter had a miraculous escape from prison. And this was causing great stir among the soldiers. The big question, where is Peter? What had become of the prisoners? The soldiers on duty were in trouble. This was a matter of life and death with them. The prisoner had escaped, even though he was chained to two of the soldiers, even though he was in the middle of them, and even though the other soldiers guarded the other post at the gates. They could not give an account to the king of what had happened. No one could find Peter, the prisoner. So Herod called them into question. He examined them. And when they still could not give him any reasonable account of what happened to Peter, he ordered them executed. But the king's pride was still in question. He was so hurt. His ego was so crushed that he left Judea and went to Caesarea, and he stayed there just to get away. Many times in life, the things that happens, we just want to get away. And so we see that is what happened to this king today. Many might be asking the question, what is he going to do? He was so eager to kill Peter just because he had killed James, and he was on a rampart to kill the other believers of the Lord Jesus Christ. But in another story, we will also see what happened to this king. Today's lesson, Acts chapter 12, verse 18 and 19. And it's Herod's wrath on the jailers. He says, now as soon as it was day, there was no small stir among the soldiers what had become of Peter. And when Herod had sought for him and found him not, he examined the keepers and commanded that they should be put to death. And he went down from Judea to Caesarea and there abode. As we remember, it was at night while Peter was sleeping soundly that the angel of the Lord appeared and miraculously delivered him from prison. So when morning came and Peter was missing, the helpless soldiers were thrown in a state of panic. They were confused as to what could have happened. They were on their watch. They did not fall asleep, but could not give an explanation of what happened. For Herod too, he was in a state of shock. He too was panicking. What a traumatic experience that the king is now, as far as he is concerned, he is outwitted by the prisoner. But you and I know that this was not an act of Peter, but an act of God. So nothing that the soldiers said or do sounded convincing to the king. Every story they could have told was just a lame story. And probably the stories they tried to tell infuriated the king much the more. So the king was mad because his pride was hurt so badly that he had to get away. So our story tells us that he left Judea. He was the king, but he maybe couldn't stand to come into question from the Jews what had happened. Remember, he was doing this trying to please them. Now, as the elected official, he couldn't please those who placed him in power. And so, because a common prisoner, as far as he is concerned, outwitted him, he was not able, or he could not stand what was taking place around him in Judea. So he went to Caesarea, and the story says he abode, or he began to live there. Many times man will make their plans. We have seen this, that the king has done this. He made his plans, and he was quite certain that he was going to kill Peter, like he had previously killed James with the sword. But God did not allow it to happen, because God has a plan and a purpose for Peter to continue to spread the good news of the gospel of Jesus Christ. I believe he was looking everywhere for Peter, but Peter could not be found. So God hid him, or took him away from the tyranny of the king. Many times we have people who boast what they will do, but when God steps in, it's all about him who has a final say. God bless you today. Thank you again for watching, and may God continue to bless the youth.